All right, good morning, people. Let me know if the audio is okay as usual. Welcome to episode 54. If you are ready to get into this, if you want to do this, if you want me to snap into place, I need you to type ready in the chat, where you're from, what you shoot, and what you shoot with. So I want to see, at the very minimal, I want to see a bunch of ready typed in that chat from you guys. We used to do it during the Twitch era. We used to do it during the small studio at the graffiti era, if you guys remember that. But type in ready, where you're from, what you shoot, and what you shoot with. Okay, guys? We're going to get into this in 2 seconds, but I'm seeing a couple readies, not a lot of readies. I don't know if I'm going to start. I don't know. Maybe I won't do this at all, although this is probably killing the replay if you're watching this on replay. You know what? Let's just do this. I just want to get into this. All right, so I'm gonna do one of these, and I'm gonna do one of these, and we're live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I got Robin in the chat, Michael, Sean, what's going on? Yeah, the audio should be good because I don't have the AC on cranking this time. I gotta tell you, if you've ever been to the event space in person, it is like a World War II plane over your head, but you know, we need it to survive because it gets really hot and humid in this space. However, it is also summer, guys, and in New York, it gets humid and crazy. So we got some Canon people in here, got some Nikon people in here. Oh, Heidi, what's going on? I don't think I've seen you in the chat for a while. Tony, how are you? Yes, hello to Quinn. Sorry, I know, I always forget, I know. Let me get you over onto your mark a little bit, okay? Nope, you're the best. No, thank you, thank you. All right, before we get cranking on something that we got going on, I got a couple questions in the question sticker from yesterday. So if you didn't know, if you're new here, that's my social. And before I go live here, just to get the chat warmed up, I put a question sticker the day before that you can fill out with anything you want me to jump onto here. And as always, if I can actually do the answer as a demo, I'll shoot it live, whatever. This is what I'm doing here, guys. I mean, this is week 54. Can you believe this? 54. That is like about 70 hours of Ask Me Anything I've done for you guys, okay? Before we get into that, I want to talk about what's coming up because you have no idea how much stuff is coming up. It is almost bananas. All right, tomorrow, Tuesday, June 30th, the immortal Joe McNally is coming back to the event space shooting live. And I always love when Joe comes. It's almost like a homecoming, like home game kind of thing. I'm very excited to hang out with Joe again. It's been a minute. If you didn't know, we have about 3 other Joe McNally live streams on this channel. So you're going to want to subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we go live, because you're going to be in those chat rooms to ask the questions if you can do it, right? Otherwise, you're going to watch it on playback, type a comment, and hopefully you can get there. On July 1st, Wednesday, we're going to have Charles Chesler in here. He did a really nice demo on shooting headshots with just out of what's in his backpack. That is on this channel. He's coming back to talk about the book he just got published, how he got published, how you can get published. And I think it's pretty cool if you want to go that route. He's going to share what he went through for that. Plus, it's some nice portraits on the street that he's done with a lot of people here in New York and probably somewhere else. July 7th, Tuesday, the great Ab Cisse makes his triumphant return back to the event space shooting live. And he's going to be talking about mastering light shapers, choosing your modifier, why, what, which one to go with, when, you know, a little bit of a deep dive on what modifiers are about. Ab Cisse is one of the best in the game, one of the best educators, period, and a great guy overall. So I'm really happy he's coming back to hang out with us. July 8th, my boy, Chad Caruso is coming back. For the second time, he skated across America, and this time he got the Guinness record for it. He raised a lot of money for Natural High, which is a charity that makes sure that there's stuff for kids to do that isn't drugged. So pretty cool, right? He's going to be here, and we're going to talk about what he did on the road. He vlogged the entire thing and streamed the entire thing. My guy had a backpack connected to a satellite and live streamed the entire 60 days from coast to coast on a skateboard for the second time. So we're going to hang out with Chad. On July 9th, Daniel Norton comes back in here doing a topic you guys all ask about, mixing LED and flash together, which is basically constant light and flash. How do you put them together? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have strobes and have now moved into some constant lights and want to know how they can get them to play nice together. Especially if you shoot photo and video, or if you're not looking to invest into more lights and you already have some constant lights to mix them with strobe, it might be advantageous. On July 14th, this bum is coming in here named Seth Miranda to shoot for the first time since December. I haven't done a formal demo since December 16th or something like that. So I will have a model. It's someone I've never photographed before, if they don't flake. And I'm going to walk you through my decisions as I basically create the portrait, why this light, why this direction, what I like, what I don't like, my decisions. And that's why I'm calling it navigating the light, because we're going to navigate a pathway to that portrait. Okay, so please, if you do anything for me, jump in that chat, keep it moving, make it rowdy, because I'm going to be here by myself working this switcher, shooting live and shooting to an in-room audience. It's been a while and I got to shake some rust off and sharpen up. You know how it is, right? If you don't do it, you lose it, right? So yeah, Kathy, help that bum out. You know, look, I don't book myself often. And I'm not going to lie to you, I've been ducking it for a while. I'm going to face the music on the 14th. July 16th, Daniel Norton comes back. The Myth of the Portrait Lens. I really enjoy this one from Daniel. As much as I hate that guy, he does a really good demo when it's talking about lens selection, why, and the things you probably don't even think about when choosing your lens. Daniel's going to come in here and just shred. I'm really excited for that one. July 21st, Gary Hughes, one of the best headshot guys in the world, coming right here to the event space, and he's going to be shooting live, and he's going to show you a whole workflow from shooting mass volume corporate headshots to an actual print on the spot. You're going to want to check that one out. It's going to be pretty cool. And if you're in New York, you're going to want to come for that in person. Trust me, okay? And then July 22nd, Gavin Hoey, the Gavin Hoey, is going to be in here. We are going to have my man in person, all the way from the UK, right here to New York. And my guy is going to be live on this channel. Make sure you hit subscribe so you're on this chat when he goes live. You guys know who Gavin Hoey is. He's like the top host on Adorama for like 2 decades here, okay? He's going to be doing simple portrait lighting with a twist. We all know Gavin likes to get creative with it. So we're going to see a lot of really cool stuff live in person in the event space with our guy, the one and only, the beloved Gavin Hoey. Make sure you are RSVPing for all of these, by the way. Even if you can't be here in person, you'll get notifications to remind you what's going on here at Adorama and on this channel, so you can stream it, be a part of it, okay? On the 28th, me and Daniel Norton are bringing back the critique. This is not live streamed. If you are in New York or going to be in New York, all the instructions for submitting your work is on there. Me and Daniel take a look at it and we talk about it as if it is like one of the most important photos in the world. You know, there's no bashing. It is constructive feedback to get you what you need. And hopefully this gets some momentum. I would love to see this place just packed. I would love to have too many images to even get through. That would be amazing. So if you are in New York or going to be in New York at the end of July, make sure you are checking out the Adorama critique. This one's for you guys. It is not going to be live streamed, okay? And then there's a bunch of stuff starting up in August. We got Daniel coming back here doing beauty photography on a budget, still low cost lighting setups, but still getting high-end results for beauty. And then August 13th, how to create cinematic portraits anywhere with Brett Garamella. I don't know this guy personally, but we're gonna have him in here on the August 13th. So come join us for that. So if you haven't noticed, July is stacked, kids, and there's more being added, believe it or not. So tomorrow, if anything else, make sure tomorrow you are in this chat room for the immortal Joe McNally. I can't wait. It's gonna be very fun. I'm sure I'm gonna hit the diner with Joe. It's been a minute. Yeah, so that's what's coming up. I will definitely have to work on whatever my demo is gonna be for July, because like Craig is saying, there is a lot of heavy hitters. So I'm joining the schedule with Joe McNally, Ab Cisse, of course, Daniel. Gavin's going to be here. Like, this could not be a more stacked deck if we tried. So I'm going to have to throw down pretty hard on the 14th. Hopefully it turns out all right. I might be a little rusty. You guys are going to have to stick with me and find out. I don't know. Hey, if anything, crash and burn, right? Who watches? People watch racing for the crashes, right? So, you know, maybe that's what you're logging in for. I don't know if you realize what a great teacher. Oh, thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. When you talk through your setup and while you shoot. No, I really, really appreciate that. I try really hard for you guys. Like I said, Ab, you just missed all the nice stuff I said about you. Ab's going to be in here on July 7th. So make sure you guys are RSVPing for that one on the Eventbrite. Follow Adorama on Eventbrite. You will not miss anything. go to Adorama as an organizer and hit follow on that page. Actually, can I put this in the chat? I tell you what, here's the link I just, I'll even pin it to the, I'll pin it to the top so you guys can always grab it, okay? But please, even if you're not gonna be here in person, RSVP for the events, okay? You will stay in the loop, you will be notified, you'll be reminded, and you can catch the live stream or just be reminded to watch the replay. I don't care where you are in the world, RSVP for the events. Come on, guys. Also, no one said anything, but have you noticed that I adjusted the lighting over here? Have you noticed some things changed? See this side, got a little more dimension to it. No reflection in the glasses going on here. Of course, no one says anything, right? What color are my eyes, guys? No. I'm actually dealing with a really irritated eye right now. I got poked in the eye really, really bad over the weekend, and I've been icing it down, but it is still swollen, and I'm almost positive there's like an eyelash follicle that's messed up. But here we are, guys, all right? Yeah, man. And this is a huge shout out to Teresa Raffetto, who has been booking the event space. You guys don't know her. She's amazing. I can't do this. We can't do this. This channel can't do this without her. So huge shout out to Teresa Raffetto for packing the schedule like she did. I have no idea why I volunteered. No idea why I volunteered for July. Out of all the months I could have volunteered to jump in here and do a demo, why did I choose the hottest, sweatiest, most humid month with the most heavy hitter people on the roster doing their demos? I don't know what's going on. Maybe I felt left out. I don't know. All right. Craig's saying one day I plan to come to a live event. I used to work in NYC. Now I come to the last time I was there. Got to fix that. Yes, you do. New York is amazing. And right now the energy in this city is incredible. I mean, it's just unbelievable here. I'm so fortunate to have been born here, but also live here. I got to tell you. And anyone who talks trash about New York is never here. You ever notice that? Like they never were here. If they lived here, it was forever ago. They have no idea what they're talking about. Right? The amount of food that I've had this weekend alone. Oh, forget about it. You just walk around and just. All right. Okay, so today I didn't really have too much of a plan. I did want to get into CaptureOne's Denoise function, so the feature, I should say. So they really, really worked hard on this, and it shows. If you don't have CaptureOne, that's fine, but I think it's important for you to know what's out there. And if you are going to be working professionally in this industry or try to assist people, hey, Arthur, how are you, man? I hope you're coming to Adorama. The events are stacked, Arthur. You haven't seen you in a minute. Check out the link of the Eventbrite. You're not going to miss some of this stuff. CaptureOne is an industry standard for professional work. Everywhere I've gone, every rental studio I've been in, every commercial set I've been on, if you are trying to assist for people, whatever it is, make sure that you at least get familiar with CaptureOne, even if you yourself don't like buy a subscription or whatever to it. Make sure you are proficient in it, okay? Stay up on their YouTube channel. Just all the tutorials you guys see us do, we shoot into CaptureOne for a reason, okay? So I want to show the Denoise in real time because I was so impressed with it, and there's some stuff about it you should know. Before we get into that though, I do have a couple of questions on the question sticker on my Instagram, so I do want to address that. Someone is asking, is ProPhoto going to give you the new extra large softboxes to try out? If you didn't know that, ProPhoto, do I have one? Okay, so ProPhoto made bigger versions of that newer softbox that you've probably seen me and Daniel use a lot. I love this box. It is one of those beautiful boxes ever. This is essentially a 4-foot version. They've made 5-foot and other sizes and shapes like rectangles and stuff. So they made, oh my God, it's so tight. There we go. They made an even bigger version of this. Am I gonna get one to test? I don't know. I don't have a faucet that runs ProPhoto gear for me, you know? But they have been very generous with loaner gear in the past, and I'm expecting them to swing by with the new modifiers. If you didn't know, they also released new hard modifiers. The Telezoom, the Magnum, and the Zoom Reflector all got an update for flat-facing lights. So basically lights like this and the LEDs, the cob lights, basically. They are optimized for that style of light. I know Ab is going to go crazy trying those lights, those modifiers out. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to take a look at those. I would really like to take a look at those. The 5-foot octa, though, I mean, 5-foot octas are a nice get out of jail free card, I call them. If you're not sure what to do, throw a 5-foot octa at somebody, they'll look great. All right. It might not be a style that you want to get into, but you'll get out of it alive, you know? Let me put this in the back. I'll pack it up later. Okay. So I guess stay tuned. We'll see if I get any stuff from Profoto to try out, maybe either on my personal channel or here. We'll see. STL Johnny, is that St. Louis? Is that what the STL stands for? I'm seriously thinking about migrating from Lightroom to CaptureOne. I feel like the more I watch people out on CaptureOne, the more I like more than Lightroom. The other thing you should know is, again, this is not sponsored by CaptureOne. I don't care if you are buying CaptureOne, but what you should know is that you can actually customize it more and more towards a workflow you're used to with Lightroom. What might not translate workflow-wise is the way they do their albums and cataloging. Okay, so that I think is a little I don't want to say different, but it's if you're used to that and that's what you lean on Lightroom for, that's the different experience. But the tools, you can customize the tools, the tabs, and your workflow closer to Lightroom and get more comfortable with it. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, the other question. Dan Arango, are you in the chat, buddy? I know you're. Oh wow, this chat. I missed a lot of this chat. Okay, so I think a lot of this chat was not showing up till now, so I'm just getting blitzed with a bunch of you guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tony, I do have new swag. I make like no money on it. I just did it for fun. So if you want the Brooklyn Reflector as a shirt or some other designs, I did put out a TeePublic store, and you can find that on my link in bio on my Instagram if you want. And it'll be tied to my personal YouTube channel, all right? But I don't want to plug that too hard. So through Joe's lens is saying Adobe is buying Topaz Labs. Cool, because that's something I want to talk about, not just because Adobe's buying Topaz, but because of what I'm seeing in the Denoise feature in CaptureOne after having also tried out Topaz and stuff like that. I'm going to say one thing you have to realize is that this is one of those types of things that there is no better or best. It's a way it does it, and do you feel like it improves or harms the image is up to you, because it's just like people who over edit think that that's making their images better. I'm not one of those guys. So but not saying that Topaz does that, but hey, Kristen, how are you? Not saying that Topaz does that, but I think every denoise I have tried has had their own, I don't want to say method, I guess philosophy and end game for the image. And we'll talk about that when I get to that. I do want to get to that. I'm not going to, but I don't want to ignore these. Okay, Dan, you're in the chat. So Dan Arango saying how height and angle of camera affects the subject looks. So you could really go down a bit of a rabbit hole with this one. And also you have to realize that your position to your subject, I'm guessing if you're saying higher or lower or closer or farther, you have to realize that your lens is your viewer's perspective and how and when I say perspective, I'm not just saying visually looking, but like the way it feels, right? So if I am looming over you, right, you feel a little more submissive towards someone you're looking up to, which might present the subject as more powerful, right? Does that make the viewer feel smaller? Well, what if we had a gallery show where every photo is only 4x6 and it's still shot from lower? Now the format's not just changed from the perspective of the lens, but the presence of the image. So then you really got to think about, where is this image going to end up? You can't always say where we'll definitively end up. I mean, there's been some famous images that were made into tote bags, you don't know. But when you are selecting your lens, when you are selecting, and when I say selecting, I'm very loosely saying that, when you are positioning yourself to your subject, you have to keep in mind your perspective, and don't just look at, well, what's in focus, what's out of, don't just look at the framing. Get a sense of the way that's going to feel, right? And every time you step towards a decision with your perspective, understand what that's probably going to say to your viewer, just like the words out of your mouth. If I say something harsh, it might get taken a little wrong, right? I mean, look, I'm from New York, and when I go to other places, I say some things, people take it wrong all the time. Ask anybody in this chat that's seen me on a stage, they take it wrong all the time, okay? But Dan, do you really want me to shoot like actual images to go through this? Because I think it's kind of, it's a little bit of a basics where we talk about, you know, if your subject is seen lower, they're seen more submissive. To me, they're not seen more submissive. To me, I'm filling up the frame with more of them, seeing their shoes, seeing the outfit, or the fact that they're on a street, or maybe they're on a wood floor. If they're a dancer and they're on a stage and you're seeing what stage they're actually touching, things like that, you know? So there's a few things you can put in your toolbox. One of them that I've used over the years forever, which if you guys know me as a photographer or any of my work, I lean a lot into going wide and pushing in, right? Doing something like this, you know, because actually we should do a little bit of a bounce. Do a little bit of a bounce because I'm going to shade out. Oh, put a little bounce in there, right? All right. When I go wide and I push in, what I'm doing is I'm forcing a surreal note into the frame. And when I push that surreal note, I want you to feel a little bit dynamic, energy, push. It's coming, right? And that comes from my BMX and skate days, like 100%. I shot everything on 14mm lenses back then. So yeah, you know, wow, a lot of talk in this chat. Okay. So Johnny's, oh geez, what's going on here? Sorry. Craig saying, I love Lightroom, but always keep an eye out for alternatives. Listen, use the tools that you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? A lot of times, this doesn't mean one's better or worse, but there's reasons things become standard. And I will say CaptureOne is a standard for a reason. I'll just say that. I wonder if I could use Bridge more for file management than CaptureOne for edits. I found that organization of CaptureOne feels different from Lightroom. It definitely is different. I am definitely not the person to talk to about that. I am the most disorganized. I'm the worst. Everyone tells me how unprofessional I am with my organizational skills of my files. So I'm not the guy for that. Joel saying color renders in CaptureOne for Canon anyway is way better for me. Also, the primary exposure HDR sliders are much more subtle and actually adjust what you expect them to adjust. Yeah, so I do feel CaptureOne works so closely with the manufacturers of the camera manufacturers that one, you will almost always see a new camera with a raw file almost day one that you can open up that file. There's no like waiting for 3 to 6 months for them to be able to be opened in CaptureOne. But I do, in my opinion, over the years, I have noticed CaptureOne, as opposed to any other software, giving me more information out of my shadows and highlights. And I think it understands what dynamic range really is about. I also think that their color rendition gives me what I'm looking for more than other applications. But you've seen us use CaptureOne for years here while we're live, right? I mean, the tethering alone, right? Tony's saying, Seth, when photographing 2 models together, one with very white and one with very dark skin, how do you populate both of them together? Any special techniques? Oh, this is a whole long demo. Actually, Daniel has a whole demo on photographing skin tones that I'll put in the chat for you, Tony, because I think this is a whole discussion to itself. Let me just take a look for it really quick. Daniel Norton, skin tones. That was not 3 years ago. All right. I'm going to put this in the chat for you and you can take a look at that. If you still have questions after this, I will say Ab Cisse has an amazing course on skin tones and stuff like that. We can talk about that. But essentially, you have to realize that if I had to give you one thing is the light, when you're lighting skin tones, it's a game of perception. But if you took a light meter up to, do I have a light meter? Yeah. If I took a light meter up to my pale face and I took a light meter up to someone with a darker skin, the light meter is going to tell me the same thing because we're measuring the light falling on the subject. So when people say like, oh, the thing that drives me crazy is when people say certain skin tones absorb light. That is not true. Skin is reflective, but there is perception to the way contrast can look, the way structuring can look, the way definition can look. So there's just so much, guys. And I don't think we'll be able to get through it in like 20 minutes here. So check out that demo in the chat that I just put in there, Tony, and maybe we'll take a look at this in a future one. Okay. It's also really hard to demo skin tones during these streams when Quinn is matte white, you know, so it's tough. Wow. Okay. Don't need a demo. Okay, cool. Yeah. I was thinking camera height for headshots versus full body. So essentially, depending on what the headshot is for, you kind of want to think about it. Okay. So if you're thinking something like corporate headshot or actor headshot or something like that, where it's less of a promotional, so when I say promotional, something like shooting for an actor that would be then in a play, then you're giving context. But a headshot, you're going to want to do eye level. You want to go, what I call face value, even though it's the worst term I could probably give you for that. Shoot, like right now, this is eye level for me, right? You're going to want to give them basically a blank slate of who this person is at the most neutral position that they can, so they can make their own perception and assumptions of that person from meeting them. Okay. So I would say always start with eye level, because you don't want to add any infliction onto the image that is about the image more than the person, which makes it not a headshot, right? Headshot is about the person, not the photo tricks we throw into it. We want clean light that represents them. We want them to look their best, but we also definitely want them to look like them, right? So they're gonna, if it's a headshot and it's for like an actor, they're gonna list their height and all this other stuff. So you don't need to be like, well, I am 6'1" and they're 5'1" and I have to shoot like this. Like, no, straight face value. Because most of the time, if they're doing a dialogue or a narrative, they're gonna be like this, right? We just saw Andrew Trost do an amazing demo, right? This is usually what a dialogue is gonna look like, unless they want to convey something. Like if they are, I just watched the House of Dragons last night. So it's like, you know, looking up at someone who is royalty rather than looking down at someone who might be impoverished or something. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? Also, I do want to say, if you guys, I'm seeing all this discourse going on about CaptureOne. They have a 7-day free trial. If you want to give it a shot and you have an image that you want to load into whatever you're using now and then load it into CaptureOne and just see what you're getting differently, go for it. You know, go for it, you know? 7-day free trial is not bad. I've heard CaptureOne handles Nikon RAWs better than Adobe. Define better, right? So again, it's look at what you're getting from the tool being the software, and decide if it's what you're looking for, okay? Seth or anyone in the chat know of anyone who has a YouTube channel that does course for CaptureOne. So how about this? What if I did one better for you? What if I told you that CaptureOne's website has a 3-hour-long free class you take at your leisure, that when you complete it, you get a certification in CaptureOne? If someone came to me as an assistant and said they have that certification from CaptureOne, they know the baseline basics of how CaptureOne works and what it's about, you have a leg up. In fact, I think I can even CaptureOne. I'm going to put a link to that in the chat, because why not? Learn. Go to courses. Okay, so this is all online courses. CaptureOne certification, enroll for free, right? I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this in the chat, and then you guys just have to make a profile and they will mark it for you, okay? Other than that, I can't urge you guys enough to just follow CaptureOne's YouTube channel. They go live all the time, showing you all the new features with some incredible educators. David's awesome. Alex is awesome. And you can jump in there and be like, hey, does it work like this? Hey, I use this. Does it work like that? You're talking to the horse's mouth. So subscribe to CaptureOne on YouTube, hit the bell, jump in those live streams, but also look at their back catalog. One of my favorite things is that when they have a new feature, it's like a less than 60-second video explaining it to you. And it's awesome. You know what I mean? Tony's asking, when it comes to denoising, is it better to do in camera if your camera can do it versus doing it in post? Curious. Okay, so when you do denoising in camera, essentially you are just creating a JPEG. You're not denoising the raw file, basically. Okay. I would say it's always better to get as raw. Actually, some cameras are putting a denoise to the raw file, but then there's no going back from it if you feel that it looks too Vaseline-y. So what I would say is, I'm not a big fan of in-camera noise reduction unless you were doing something that is high speed, time critical, like press photography or sports, and you're shooting JPEG anyway, and it's going to wire. Yes, some people actually shoot JPEG professionally. A lot of sports photographers, a lot of press photographers, because they're working almost in real time, are shooting JPEG. In those cases, if it helps out your image, it might be your best case. In fact, some people might say that the company themselves might know their sensor and processing so much better than anyone else that they do great denoising. For me, I would rather have the raw file as I can and then figure out what's going on later. Of course, we don't want noise if we can help it, but I was in a situation a couple weeks ago on a job where I was literally in a bunker. There was no light and I was at 25,600 constantly. And I was like, man, this is gonna be rough. And then CaptureOne Denoise came out and it totally made it amazing. Ab is saying CaptureOne is rock solid when it comes to connecting and reconnecting when the camera needs to be powered and powered on and off. Plus my catalogs have 2 years worth of shoots before I create a new catalog. If you're shooting tethered, there is no other, says Ab Cset. I've almost exclusively become all CaptureOne for my workflow. I also don't do a lot of manipulation, meaning I'm not generating things. I'm not making up pixels that don't exist. I do a little bit of retouch when I have to. I try to avoid retouch at all costs if I can, but you know, clients are clients. And I just think that their color grading is exceptional. I think CaptureOne has some of the best color grading tools, in my opinion. It's almost like DaVinci for video, CaptureOne for stills. Does that make sense? Anybody knows the color grading for CaptureOne? Yeah, good question. I think Canon models bake in the noise reduction of RAW. I think Nikon does not. I don't think they bake in the noise reduction. Every camera should essentially give you a RAW file if you want it. So I don't think it's baked in. I don't think so. You can select noise reduction and you can select a level of noise reduction. Okay, let's do this. Let's take a shot with a really high ISO. You guys want to do that? You want to get in some really high ISO and we'll see what CaptureOne does for noise reduction. Man, we just went talking for like a half hour there. So I got a Nikon Z8 with me. That is a 46 megapixel camera. And I'm going to crank this ISO to 25,600 and see what happens. Obviously, we know it's going to be noisy. What I will say about the noise reduction is, one, you don't want to put it on at first. What I would do is I would make your color adjustments. I would make your exposure adjustments if needed, especially if you're someone that's going to underexpose it to then bring up in post. Make sure you do your exposure balancing. You do your exposure editing, do your color balancing or your color grading, and then do the denoise. That's just my opinion. What I want to say about the CaptureOne denoise that I like is, one, it doesn't do what some other denoise software that I've seen do and alter skin tones. It seems to keep the skin tones I'm looking for, that I shot with, that I am creating. And it also doesn't remove detail unless I crank it. So some denoising softwares will actually throw in a sharpening element to it, because what they do is they smooth it out with like a slab of Vaseline, get rid of all the chromatic, right? Which is the rainbow sand that you see, right? They get rid of that, and then they throw on a sharpening filter on top of that to kind of bring it back to being less Vaseline looking. I don't notice that happening with the CaptureOne denoise. For me, it is so far for me has been the most organic looking denoise there is. That's just my opinion. We'll make this. We'll see what happens. Oh, you know what? Let me get a chipboard. That might help. That way we get like a bunch of different. Okay, cool. I got a chipboard. Got a little bit of a chipboard here. We can throw that on a stand, and I don't know how old it is, but it's here. I'm gonna, just in case I need a light, I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of light on whatever we're shooting, whether it's a chipboard or Quinn. I'm going to use the Pro Photo modeling light to do that because I don't need a lot of light. We're going to try to shoot at high ISO. How am I going to shoot at a high ISO? Well, I'm going to close down my aperture as much as I can, and then I'm going to speed up my shutter speed until I get to an ISO that tells me you're in Swiss cheese mode. Everybody with me? Everybody with me? I'm a traveler, so carrying a camera is another headache, so I also don't use zoom function. Do you recommend me a smartphone that can play my role? What? I would just get a small camera. I'm not here to recommend phones, kids. Sorry. What? Can I recommend you a phone? I mean, that's just weird. Okay, let's take a picture of the chipboard next to Quinn. We'll see what detail we can keep. All right. Let's put on this modeling light and dial it down. And let's make it clean light. We'll do right in the middle. It's probably still going to be too much light, but we'll see. I just want to have like a clean light source on her. Okay. Let's take a look at this tether. Daniel did do a great demo with a point and shoot. He used the Ricoh GR4, the monochrome, which is very cool camera. I've been thinking about getting one, but I use my X100 for almost everything like that. So I'm like, I don't know, do I need another one? And the answer is you always need another camera, right? That's what we do here, right? All right, let me tether into CaptureOne, into the ever-long 53 episodes of demos we've done with Quinn. Like, look at all this stuff that we did. Like, there's so many files in here of just Quinn. It's insane. Maybe we'll do a retrospective one day. So I tether in with my Nikon. And I turn on the Nikon, and boom, we are connected. How easy was that? And you guys can see me being connected over here, right? And you can always see on the bottom over here, you can always see what settings we're at for each file if you're ever watching a demo here, okay, guys? Let's take a look at okay, so I'm still in pitch black. So I'm at ISO 100 f4. So I'm going to, you know what, let's put it to auto ISO, why not? Auto ISO is giving me 4,000 ISO. I don't think that's enough. So I'm going to close down to F18. F18 at 2,000th of a second, and we are getting, actually, yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, so that is Swiss cheese mode, guys. Look at that. Look at that, right? I mean, I can make it a little bit brighter, but let's do what I said I was going to do. So let's lift the exposure a little bit, maybe bring up the shadows a little bit. Maybe we'll white balance her a little bit. Okay, so now we have essentially what we did was brought it up a little bit. We're still in like super Swiss cheese mode. If I go into the refine tab, you can actually see on the left over here, there's like a loop that always stays on the eyeball. See, it says center to eye. So it recognizes faces, and it'll always show you that as a loop while you're shooting. So you don't have to keep on zooming in and going, is it sharp? Is it sharp? But look at that Swiss cheese mode, guys. This is as high as the ISO goes before putting it into another mode called high, where it limits your dynamic range. Okay, everybody with me so far? So after, before, after, before. Let's go into denoise. Now, before I hit the denoise and we see how long it takes, I want you guys to know that one, this does not work on JPEGs, only raw files at this time. They actually do use a ton of the data from the raw file. The other thing is, they've been working on this for years. They've been asked to do this for a long time. They did not rush this out the door, okay? So we're looking at crazy noise on our girl here, right? And we are looking at such crazy noise. You can barely read. I guess you can read that. It says Digicolor card, Pro 5x7. And we'll zoom back in on that. Also, we are zoomed into 178%. All right. The other thing I need you to know is before I hit the denoise, this is on an M2 MacBook. So this is a few years old. This is not the latest. So let's see how long it takes. I go over here, apply enhanced denoise. I hit it and it says enhanced denoise pending up here. We can see how long it's going to take. And for this one image, it's taken about 30 seconds. Not bad. Now, the other thing is if I made a variant, meaning I cloned this image to make different versions of it, the denoise doesn't have to process again. It just keeps the same denoise. So I can make many versions of this, make a black and white, make a crop, whatever, have 3 versions from the same image, and I don't have to wait for this process. So it's done. This is what it looked like. This is extreme situation, guys. So let's go. Why is this happening? Let's go over to look at that. Wow. Wow. Look at that. Look at the Digicolor card. Wow. This is an extreme case too. Are you kidding me? And then you can actually crank this all the way, which I don't think is doing any justice because you're starting to see that Vaseline look. And you can dial it back if you want to bring back in some of that noise because you think it's too heavy-handed. But look at that, guys. Like you can barely read what's going on there. That's not bad. And this is at 266%. 266%. This is at 100 right here. So there's not even pixels there for these guys. Look, let's take a look at shooting just Quinn straight up. Okay, so that's Quinn at 25,600 ISO. It's applying the denoise because I already have it toggled in. So I toggled on, so it will automatically go into the processing, okay? So I'm not have to sit there after a session and hit this. I could actually have this working while I'm tethering, and then when we go to look and review the images, they're already denoised. So, whoa, guys, look at the difference. Are you kidding me? All right, let's say I go to here and I even take off the adjustments that I did here. Right? That is insane. Guys, look at this. And it keeps all the detail. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is cool, man. It takes down all that rainbow sand, right? You can see some of this magenta coming in, some blue coming in. Gone, 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 gone. And this is 100%, but with an image that's just her head. Here, it was 100% at maybe a tenth of the frame. So it has more information to work with. This is clean, guys. Look, it even keeps all this. Come on. This is an extremely worst case scenario too. All right, so you know what? Let's see what happens when I do my hand. How about that? Let's see. I'm gonna put my hand in there. And I tell you what, I'll even do it with the live view on because let's make you seasick, right? So I'm going to zoom in, put my hand in there. Let's take a look. It's already denoising, right? So there's my hand. It's a little warm because I have a tungsten light in the ceiling pointing at me. So it's processing. Again, this is an M2 MacBook. Your computer is definitely going to make a difference on how much time it takes. Also, the resolution of the image. All right, so let's take a look. This is my rainbow hand here. Look at that. Look at the teeth on the snake that are nice and blurry from all the years I've had it, and it's still there. Look at that. I'm gonna do a quick white balance on it. We'll All right. Look at that. Ah, well, my pinch zoom game is horrible. I admit. Okay. Why is this taking forever? Okay. So look at that, guys. You can see my freckle. Like, look at my freckles over here, right? They're still there, right? Like, it looks natural. Look at that. Look at the edge of my thumb, dude. Look at that. Look at that. Are you kidding me? And this is at 135% zoomed. This is ridiculous. So whenever you shot something a little high ISO, you can go, you know what? I'm all right. I think I'll be okay. Look, it even preserved these little knuckle hairs going on here. Are you guys with me? Is this not advantageous to you guys? You're not into this? Talk to me. Is it non-destructive? Do you keep the raw file? Yes. So nothing in CaptureOne is destructive. You always have the original file, then you export to an output. So you have original file, then an output folder, or wherever you want to export it to. And you can export like 7 versions of it: higher res, low res, TIFF file, PSD, whatever you need, right? So you can set that up into multiple exports in one shot. If you ever get a chance to work with a Digitech, forget about it, okay? Let's shoot the chipboard really, really tight and see what we can get here. Although I'm going to get like a glare probably. Let me see if I can get a light in there without. Yeah, that should be good. All right, let's take a shot without Quinn or my hand. Let's just go right into. What do I shoot? H1 or H2? We can try that. Let me do this one first, then we'll do H1 and H2. Okay. So this is the chipboard by itself at 25,600. Again, it's going to process, take about 30 seconds. This actually isn't even bad. If you think about it, for a 46 megapixel camera to be at 25,600, this is not bad, guys. It's actually not bad at all. It's analyzing, it's doing the thing, bada, 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 bing. Yeah, wish I had a couple weddings to shot. Yeah, I know, we're all going to wish that we had it for something else. Okay, so look at that. Look at the difference, guys. I'm gonna do a quick white balance adjustment on that gray right there. Look at that. You kidding me? Kidding me? Let's take a look at the words here. It keeps the integrity of the words, keeps even the scratches and little dust from the chipboard. That's pretty good, man. Come on. So wait, was in camera noise reduction on or off? It's always off. I never ever use noise reduction on raw files in camera. It's not my thing. I always want to be able to figure out my own solution later if I need to. All right, so let's boost this up to high. High one. Let's just go to high 2. Let's just go all the way. This is ultra Swiss cheese mode. This is high 2. It's a little hot. Let me speed up my shutter speed a little bit. This is on high 2. Wow, look at that. That is just destroyed. Because what you're doing at high or low is you're ripping dynamic range out of your camera just to make it more sensitive or less sensitive. So you're almost not simulating, you're basically making it's fake. It's just fake. But you can even see like the scan of the sensor in this image. Let's see how it does it. Maybe this is where it fails. Yo, are you kidding me? Yo, for the absolute worst case scenario, look at this. Are you kidding me? Let's look up here where the Avenger is. It's even keeping the rubberized Avenger wording. Are you kidding me, guys? Nah, I'm in. This is at the worst possible ISO setting you can imagine. Look up here. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Come on, guys. And what was that, 20 seconds? Shut up. So, again, One, it doesn't seem to add sharpening after the fact, which can make things look meh. Over sharpening, I think, kills images. Two, it maintains skin tone, skin texture. Three, you should know that it's only RAW files and only Bayer RAW files. So what does that mean? If you are a Fujifilm X-Trans photographer, they're still working on it. It is a different pixel array and layout than a Bayer sensor from every other manufacturer. So if you're using a sensor that is not Bayer for whatever reason, if you're somehow using a Foveon or whatever, you're gonna want to check if it's gonna work at all. But from what I understand, this is basically Bayer sensor only. So I'm not sure if it'll work on anything else. I actually don't think it will because it's trying to read that data. Let's do Quinn's face at, what did you say, is 102,400 ISO? That's what the H2 comes out to? All right, let's do Quinn's face at this ridiculously horrible ISO. And honestly, I'm even gonna let Nikon off the mat on this one because let's be real, guys. This is the worst way to just basically boost up the gain on a sensor and pray that it'll work out. All right, let's take a look. This is Quinn at the most worst ISO ever. You can even see down here, this, like, that's where the scanning of the sensor is going down. Because essentially what it's doing is it's taking the photo and pushing a process to open up, to add more sensitivity to the sensor. So you're just destroying the image. Let's see what happens here. No, thank you guys for hanging out. I just tried it out and I was like, this is awesome. And I'm sure a lot of people could use this. All right, so it just denoised our girl. Let's take a look. Not bad, guys. Not bad. And remember, this is just leaving it at whatever it's set at, which is 50%. Look, it left all this texture on this crack on her, right? Our girl has a fight club that she's not supposed to talk about. I don't know if you knew this, but Quinn is a, I know, we're not supposed to, first rule of Fight Club. I know. Shh. Look at that, guys. It's maintaining all that detail. Oh, the funniest looking dog just came in. Oh, I want to squish the face. Okay. Look at that. That's pretty solid, guys. I mean, you could totally see the whiteout that I used to retouch her with. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Look at the difference. Also, how cool is it to just watch in real time before and after, you know? So this is the worst possible case scenario. Let's do my hand at this ridiculous ISO. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's denoising my hand. I'm downloading the CaptureOne and running some direct comparisons. This is impressive. There you go. And this is just their first go at it. They're going to probably improve it, probably make, I mean, it only gets better from here, right? You know? This is a 46 megapixel stacked sensor, yeah. So there's my hand, right? And there's all, I mean, look, it's keeping my scaly skin texture, my horrible ginger, nasty skin scaling. That's pretty great. Even keeps the tank top over here on Quinn intact. You can even see, so I have a pretty bad scar over here. And you can see that, look at that, before, after. Not bad at the worst possible case scenario, right? This is a 46 megapixel camera pushed to the end of its limits on the ISO. So you were looking at noise upon noise upon noise. It even keeps the ladder in the back pretty decently, and that's out of focus. Come on, you got to give it to him. You got to give it to him on this one. Look at this. Saved, right? Like, wild. So I thought it was just kind of cool for you guys to see this. And again, if you are doing one image and cloning a variant, which is, sometimes I do that for clients. So I'll shoot like a wider frame. I'll give them that I'll clone that one image 4 or 5 times. I'll give them a crop on just the face or a crop on just the product. Sometimes I will make a black and white variant for them just in case. You know, and it's all from the same cloned file. The Denoise doesn't have to get processed again. It already knows the information to bring forward. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. So yeah, try the demo. You got 7 days to try it out. Again, I don't care what you guys buy. I don't care what you guys are putting your money. I just don't. I just want you guys to see this because I think it's pretty wild, and it's not something you need to pay for if you already have CaptureOne. It's just an added feature, right? So you're not buying a plugin. You're not dealing with 2 or 3 brands where like you're good. You're good, right? Sometimes I batch denoise my files for low events with dark backgrounds. Yeah, I think for concert photography, this will be huge. I wonder what it would do scan to Tri-X negative. So for black, just to be clear, this will work on chromatic noise first, meaning the rainbow sand noise first. Then it deals with a texture. So what you might see is it just kind of takes down the grain a little bit. I just don't think it's going to be a massive difference because the big thing you see the difference in is that chromatic, you know? But you can dial this back and forward however you need, right? Actually, what happens if we dial this all the way? Yeah, you lose a little bit of detail on that. So this is cranked at 100. So if I put it, you can see it's a little bit Vaseline-y. If I take it down to 0, it's just like a light hand, no pun intended. And then we put it back to 50, you know? So you have some agency here over how it works with your image. Again, this is crazy worst case scenarios here. So let's say you're shooting something quick and you hit, you know, 4,000 ISO and you're like, it's a little noisy. Now it's a little not. It'll only get faster. It'll even only get better from here. And I think the more you guys use it, the better it'll get for CaptureOne because they actually take your feedback. There's actually a feedback tab. You can take a screenshot or a screen recording of whatever you're having an issue with. And there is a feedback tab that you can then upload, I think up to a 10 megabyte file of whatever it is and just show them what's going on. So it's very cool. If you want to know more, there's videos of it on CaptureOne's YouTube channel. I think David went live with it, David Grover, who's such a cool guy and has like some of the best knowledge and education tactics, I want to say, for CaptureOne on their channel. So you might want to check that out. Was this helpful for you guys? If it was, please hit like. That would help me out. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Let me do my little subscribe thing. Boop. I really want to get this channel cranking. Like I said, this month the events are nuts. So subscribe now. Hit the bell now. Make sure you don't miss it. You've got Joe McNally tomorrow. Ab Cisse is going to be in here. Gavin Hoey's going to be in here. I'm coming back to do a formal live demo on the 14th. That link that is in the chat right now, that's pinned down to the chat, is the Eventbrite. Make sure you are hitting follow on Adorama as an organizer and the bell. You'll get emails and calendar notifications for when things are happening. You won't miss them, right? And the big thing is if they're live, you can jump in the chat and ask the questions you want to ask at the time of it being live, right? So I think that's the most valuable part of it. You can always leave comments after the fact, but it's hard for any instructor to stay up on everything they put out there as far as a comment goes that's not on their own channel. Keep that in mind. With that being said, some of the best support you guys can do for this channel is just leave a comment on anybody who did a demo here and just tell them, hey, this was great. Thank you so much. You helped me a lot. That kind of stuff. 1, boosts the algorithm, obviously. 2, lets Adorama know what's working for you guys, shows the value of the channel. And if I get this channel to be more valuable, I get more resources. And that means more cool stuff for you. If you think I'm done, you are sadly mistaken. Do you have any idea how far we can take this channel? Do you have any idea how far we can take this channel? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Hit subscribe, share this channel around, share with some photo nerd friends of yours. Yeah, so I think you have to realize that this channel is as much yours as it is Adorama's. Without you guys in this chat or watching these videos, nothing happens here. Okay. So make sure you're hitting subscribe, the bell, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. The CaptureOne certification is something I think you all should dive into. Just give it a shot. Yes, it can add up to 3 hours, but it might show you exactly what this program is about, and you actually end up with a certification from CaptureOne. You can say that. You can throw that on a resume. You can throw that on your website, in your bios, whatever. If you're trying to be hired as an assistant or whatever, or just going for any kind of job. In fact, there's so many jobs in New York where I actually see being proficient in CaptureOne is mandatory. Now you can say, hey, I have an actual certification from CaptureOne. So totally valuable. Okay. So I can shoot in mono on my Z cameras and choose to bring in as untreated raw or match the picture control settings. Yeah. So yeah, if you want, where is it? I barely use this and it's probably going to be terrible. Okay. So yeah, when you go to, oh, sorry guys. Are you looking at my screen now? Okay. So when you go over to this tab up here with the 2 circles, that's your, I think it's like your, I don't know, your color. And I don't know what it is actually. I don't know what's the name of it. Does it tell me? It says style. Okay. So you can go to curve, you can go to ICC profile, and you go to mode, right? So mode, you can actually shoot negatives and it will basically be like a film scanner, which is a very new thing for CaptureOne, and it's awesome. So if you have a bunch of negatives, you can actually shoot like a tether into CaptureOne of a backlit negative, and it'll shoot it into a positive for you. But in ICC profile, you can actually go to the stuff that is inside of your Nikon, like vivid, portrait, monochrome, whatever. If you go to, do I have any more loaded? Look, you have all these Nikon cameras loaded up here. You have a D200. You can put into generic, portrait, a D200. You know how old that camera is? I think that was my first digital camera from Nikon. All right. But you have all this stuff. And this is for all these brands, guys. Zeiss is in here. Come on. Olympus is in here, although they should change that to OM system, update a little bit, you know. But even Leaf is in here. Who remembers Leaf? Epson? Dude, is the Sigma in here? Sigma BF is in here. Come on, guys. So you do have these ICC profiles for the camera brands of probably some color profiles you like that's in camera that only goes to JPEG. You can throw it onto your raw file. So not bad, right? Fujifilm, however, if you choose a film simulation in CaptureOne, it'll take it in as a raw with that film simulation, and you can change it after the fact. There's been a million times I shot my GFX and I shot it in black and white because for some reason I keep on leaning on black and white with that camera. And then later on, I'm like, you know what? Actually, maybe I should do this in color. And I just take off why am I calling it AGFA? Oh my God, why can't I remember what I put it on? Starts with an A. Acros, sorry. Acros film. I can take it off the Acros, put it onto Provia. I don't use Velvia too much. I think it's a very heavy-handed film stock, but I used to use it all the time for my BMX days, but portraiture, not so much. You know, I can do whatever I want, right? I can put a turn on there, whatever. But you have that ability. So don't sleep on this. And again, I do not care what you guys buy. I'm not trying to sell you anything. This is not sponsored by CaptureOne. But what I will tell you is if you are buying a new camera at Adorama, there's a bunch of them with a bundle to get CaptureOne for half off. So they made a partnership with CaptureOne in that regard. So if you are buying a new camera, you might want to look at that, all right? Yeah, shout out to Gotham for supporting the podcast. You got to see this dog that's walking in here. This is amazing. There's the best eyebrows I've ever seen. It's a Frenchie with these blonde eyebrows, but it's kind of gray. And even on this channel, there is a dog portrait stream. There was 4 hours of shooting dog portraits on this channel somewhere. So, yeah. So listen, guys. Make sure you are following Adorama on Eventbrite. Make sure you are jumping in those chat rooms. Tomorrow, Joe McNally will be here at 5 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys cause a riot in this chat room. I'm hoping the National Guard has to enter the chat, okay? So make sure you guys are coming in for that. Ab Cisse is on the 7th. I'm here on the 14th. I'm doing a demo, which means the 13th, I am not doing an Ask Me Anything stream. We're going to be doing that stream in replace of this stream for that week. So you will see me with a new model. Hopefully she doesn't flake. She looks very cool. And you're going to join me as I navigate shooting a portrait for the first time of this girl. So she's a very, very cool style. I'm very excited. Anyway, if you guys are watching this on the playback, you're going to put tres leches in those comments to let me know you made it this far on this live stream. What are the cross streets to see it live? You mean like where's Adorama? Adorama's at 42 West 18th Street. So West 18th between 5th and 6th Avenue. 42 West 18th. You're always welcome here. These seats over here, just so you guys know, these seats are for you. As much as that chat room's for you, these seats are for you. Okay? So make sure you're always considering coming by in person. I think it's invaluable. You can ask questions to the instructors right to their face. You can talk to people in the store about equipment and other things, and you might even make some friends here because there is a community here, guys. And you're welcome to be a part of it, okay? If you can't join us in person, these live streams are here. If you can't join us for the live stream, the playback is always here. We're at 130,000 subscribers on this channel. I think if we get to 250,000, I think we might be able to get to the million. I'm just going to say it. I think we can do it. But I need you guys to help me do it, okay? So make sure you're hitting subscribe and sharing these videos around. If you got a photo nerd buddy, let them know let them know that these channels exist, that these live streams exist. And Monday, I'm always here for you guys when I can be here. But for now, guys, I am going to totally finish this coffee and get out of here. Trying to think if there's something else I got to tell you guys. I did open up a merch shop. If you guys want, you can check out my Instagram, my YouTube over here. Go to the link in bio. You can get yourself a Brooklyn Reflector t-shirt or something. I don't make any money on them really, but I think it's something fun to do. And hopefully I'll see you in my chat room on the 14th. RSVP for everything. Even if you're not going to be here in person, you'll stay notified. You'll be reminded. RSVP, it's free. You stay updated. You stay in the know. Whatever you guys are into, hit RSVP on that Adorama Eventbrite. But for now, my name's Seth Miranda, Last X Witness on all social. Check out my work on Instagram. Join me on my channel on YouTube. I don't really do too much on TikTok, and I kind of fell apart on Twitch, but hey, whatever. You know, there's only so much I can keep putting myself out there. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I will see you tomorrow with Joe and Wednesday for Coffee with Creators, which is at 11 o'clock on the main channel. And guys, go take a CaptureOne class, all right? And if you do join their CaptureOne channel, you subscribe. If you watch a video, tell them in those comments I sent you. Make sure they know where you're coming from. Make sure that they know I sent you to their channel, okay? I want a call from Raphael, the CEO, being like, what happened? Why is there an avalanche of people in my channel? Let's make it happen. All right, guys. I will. Oh, and by the way, if you want, on my personal Discord, Raphael from the Adorama, Raphael from CaptureOne, the CEO, is in that Discord, and there is a CaptureOne chat full of people that are sharing information and their experiences. So you can check out my Discord through my link on my Instagram and on my YouTube. Okay, guys. So hopefully you guys join my Discord. If you do, go to the rules, hit OK, and then all the chats unlock. You can go to the CaptureOne chat room in there and see everybody chatting away. Ask Raphael some questions and all sorts of stuff. Okay, I'm really gonna get out of here. Guys, be good to each other. Have a great rest of the week. Go shoot something cool, and I will see you on the next one. Later, guys. Peace.